What is up, Endurons? Hope you're all doing good. What I wanted to do is present to you something new that we've been working on in EndurIQ, and it's basically it is a calculator page, and it's going to be helpful for everyone who wants to do a bit of testing and home in some training zones. Basically, some of them are more complex than others. Some do require a lactate meter, and the other ones are just from a your basic 5 minute 5K times to like critical swim speed 200 and a 400, but we put it all in one place so you can calculate it yourselves. So let's kick off, and I will share my screen here. Go. So what you can see here is if you follow the link below, you will get to this page. And this will take you to a calculator page. So you just click on it, check it out. Here. Takes you to the EndurIQ calculator page. And it's made up of two parts, basically. So there's a metabolic calculator, which will give you an indication of your fat max. Lactate is required. And then we have a critical threshold calculator, which includes swim, bike, and run. So we go into the metabolic calculator, clicking here. So this is based off the MEDA principles, and if you this is the paper that was done in 1986 actually, and it's looking at the relationship between lactate and pyruvate and VO2 max. So if we just it's quite complicated, as you can see. If we just go back again, it's a very complicated equation that goes into the back end of this. Obviously, if you want to geek out, here's the reference. International Journal of Sports Medicine, 1986, and it was MEDA and HEC, and it's based on lactate accumulation and the relationship between lactate and pyruvate, and then also the maximum aerobic power, which you can see here. So you've got the gross lactate, net lactate, available pyruvate, and then also the lactate elimination rate. So with that, you can actually put in, if you know those numbers automatically, you can put your VLA max in, and you can put your 5-minute power in, and you can put your VO2 max in. It would do the calculation for you, and it would give you a fat max, LT1 and LT2 score. But most people won't probably have that. So you can click here to estimate. And then we have the VLA max calculator and the VO2 max calculator. And what you can do is, if you are unsure of how to do the test, don't worry, you just click on this. We have a detailed explanation of how you can do the test. So you can do the estimated of your VLA max. We recommend that you do the VLA max test before doing a 5-minute power, and then you can do your VO2 max, the 5-minute power test. So here, learn more about performing your VO2 max here, which is also on the second bit, field test your VO2 max here and here. So you will need that. So if I give a little bit of an example, say this is like 1.2, and this is immediately post would be 2, and then we'll just make it really simple, 4, 5, we'll go 6, and then we'll go 4, and then calculate the VLA max. This is the point at where it's going to ask you for an email address. As you remember, if you're a member of EndurIQ or you're in the email list, you will automatically just have to put it in, and you will get access to this. So it's pretty easy. So we'll just go like that. Pretty cruisy, straight in there. And then you get into that. And then, so that will be calculated here. You can see it's given, if I calculate again, gives me a VLA max number of 0.40. And then say my body weight is 75 kilos, and I did a 5-minute power of, say, 380 watts, and I calculate, it'll give me a VO2 max of 61.5. And then all I have to do is just put that number in here, so 0.4, and go 61.5. And what I did, I think I put 390. I think I said that was 390. So then we put 390 in there, and then these numbers will change down here. So you can see that it's given me an LT1 of 322, LT2 280, and a fat max of 334. So what I've been finding with this is that generally I've been using with my athletes, and I recommend, is that I would almost somewhat ignore the LT1 power and use the fat max as your LT1, so the aerobic threshold. So for me, it would be, for example, this athlete here with these data points, it would be 334 watts for an LT1 or aerobic threshold, and then 322 watts for the anaerobic threshold. And, you know, fat mass of 36.9%, which isn't that good. So if, for example, what it means is that the lower your lactate accumulation, basically the better your fat metabolism, and therefore an increase in your threshold power. So you actually don't want to have a high VLA max when it comes into racing. You would want a high VLA max when at certain periods of the training cycle. But for example, if I just do an example and I put this to 0.25, it will change the number. You can see how now this is shot right up to 311 and 342. So things you can do in training to reduce the VLA max number is obviously less anaerobic work. Some kind of glycogen depleted training also reduces the VLA max, and obviously threshold intervals and longer endurance training increases that. So that is that part of it. What we also have, I'll just refresh this again, and what we also have down here is based on the numbers. If I just go back and I'll put these back in. So 0.4, 61, 390. What we have down here is the training zones, and then also, oh, that's not. And then also, what's quite handy is we've given some kind of guidance around racing. So 70.3, if you're under 5 hours, based on this number here, the 322, it would mean that you'd be looking to hold 367 to 370 if you're looking to go under 5 hours. 357 to 367, you're looking to go to 5 to 6 hours for 70.3. Comes with a bit of a disclaimer. Of course, these are all they're all estimates, so always test what you're going to do in training. A little bit of a suggestion of how you can test it. So 4 by 30 minutes at the power, see how it corresponds with the RP that's given. We also do that for Ironman as well. So if you're 8 to 9 hours, 251 to 257, RP 6, 9 to 10, and all the way it goes through. So you can give that a try. It does require lactate, but it's done from a 15-second sprint, really easy, and a 5-minute all-out effort. So just 2 tests, super simple, super easy, and you're away from there. The other things we've included, if we just go back, is a critical threshold. So if you don't have access to a threshold, if you don't have access to a lactate meter, you could also use this as an example. So say you've done a 230 for the 200, and then 505 for the 4. You can calculate. There gives you the critical swim speed of 118, gives you your low, mid, and high, and again gives you your paces for different races. So 70.3 if you're under 5 hours, 119, Ironman around 120s. So that's on the swim. On the bike, we also have included the classic 20-minute power. Well, what I use is not 5%, 10%, because that is a much better way of doing it. So if you say you did 300 watts, and you can calculate 270 threshold power, gives you your training zones, which are, all these are corresponded very well within our EndurIQ training squad that is in Training Peaks, so that should reflect nicely in there. Ironman at 70.3 included, and then finally the run. So you can do like a 5-kilometer time trial. It's a really good way of. Sometimes the old ways are the best, and this is based off the Jack Daniels VDOT formulas, and it's really, really is effective, and I love it. So if you just say you do a 18-minute 5K, 18:00, calculate 350 for your critical pace. There are your training zones, and again, you've got your race-specific intensities also included within that calculator. So there you go, Endurons. That is a bit of a new addition there to EndurIQ. Do check it out. This is always work in progress. We're working on including some heart rates in here as well. We'll keep building on these calculators as we improve, just trying to help our squad members and our athletes to better home and take a bit of responsibility for their racing and pacing. And if you give us your feedback, love to hear it. Ciao, ciao.